Alright, so I just want to make it clear this is not the type of video that I make usually. But if you don't know, LTG or LowTierGod is a person who is like storied online. Basically, he's just known as an asshole, a bad person, everything of the sort. I mean, you look at this video, you look at the title of this video, apparently he's also a dad. My little history with him, and I'm gonna get this out the way really quick, is that around 2022, when I first started being consistent on my YouTube channel, I posted a video that was about Kai Cenat and Twitter's reaction to him being the most followed person on Twitch or whatever, right? LTG made some comments like before then that was like, oh, he'll never be on the Twitch homepage because he basically is a degenerate and says the N-word and everything like that, right? So I basically said in that video for 30 seconds, it's an 8-minute video by the way, but for 30 seconds I talked about him. I was just like, LTG is wrong, he's an idiot, this is why you can't listen to people like that, things of that nature. If I can find the screenshot, I'll post it, but this, as far as to comment on my shit, right? Notice, mind you, this shit got 2,000 views at the time, probably less than that, maybe like 1,500 or some shit like that, right? It got basically no views on it. And he responded to, I don't know how he found it, by the way, but he responded to it basically calling me a retarded kid and all this other shit. So that's my little history with him, but that's not why I dislike him. And I'm not going to go as far as say I hate him, because I don't know him personally, right? He's probably fun to hang out with if you know him in person, even though seemingly he has no friends or whatever, right? But the reason why I dislike him is because he refuses to change as a person. You know what I mean? Like, things happen to people, right? If something comes out about you or clips about you go viral and they're not good clips, you over here calling people, you know, really bad racial names, and you talking about disabled people, and you're laughing at a man who committed suicide on camera, and you're doing all this other shit. You need to change as a person. I even argue with somebody on Twitter about this. It's like, this is the reason why he has trolls that are dedicated to find out this type of shit about him. When you are somebody who refuses to change, right, and you don't want to do the work necessary, and you already have trolls, what do you think is gonna happen? People are gonna continue to troll you. People are gonna continue to find things out about you in your personal life against your will. And then when people find stuff out, people start unlocking your credit, which also happened to him. Then you want to be a victim. Then you want to be like, oh, woe was me, you know, we'll figure it out. All this shit is illegal, y'all doing illegal shit. Aren't you the same motherfucker who doxed somebody, a YouTuber, for 3 years until you finally stopped when you realized it wasn't gonna work? You doxed him, harassed him, stalked him online just because he made a video about you, an objective video filled with all the things you did? And that really doesn't make any sense to me, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. And if you're a fan of him, look, if you want to be a fan of him, whatever, do what you want to do, right? It's just, I don't see how he can have fans, to be honest, considering the type of person he is. The fact that he went viral for these things over 10 years ago and is the same person he was 10 years ago is ridiculous. Now people are apparently done I'm not going to show anything, but unearth him being a dad, unearth the fact that he's $121,000 in debt, unearth the fact that he has a 660 credit score, which ain't that bad, but he said that his credit score was in the high 700s, which, come on. I will say though, my credit score is in the high 700s, you feel me? I'm not going to show proof, but my credit score is in the high 700s. You know what I mean? I know how to use my credit card. Anyway, let's get to it.
Let me ask you guys a question. How many of us in our life with intentions of having a child?
I'm gonna try not to pause as much as I can, but he says so much stupid shit in life. It's hard not to. I'm being honest with you. It's hard not to pause.
Yeah, I've never like, damn, I want to create a baby with this visual with some music in the background. Like, I'm not trying to smash to get you pregnant. So yes, I believe in ABs. I also think that there should be a new law that says, let's just say if we smash and you get pregnant, there should be a new law that says
he's gonna say
if we don't collectively agree that we both want this child, then I should sign over my rights, and legally you can't do anything. Like,
to me, the reason why a law like that is stupid as fuck is simply because of the fact that and of course the person who never takes accountability is gonna say some shit like that. Even if you was wearing a rubber and some shit happened, it got, you know, she had a baby, she got pregnant, whatever, even if you didn't consciously want to, like, you know, inside of the woman or anything like that, regardless, when you start doing things, when you start fornicating, right, it's important to understand that no matter what happens, there is a chance you can have a baby. You can do it as safe as humanly possible. Plan B, all that stuff, birth control, all that stuff. But there's still a chance you can have a baby. I don't care if you didn't want the baby. I don't care if you thought she was ugly. I don't care if you never saw yourself with her in the first place. You are a man. It is your responsibility, if you have a child, to take care of that child, bro. It is your responsibility. I don't care what nobody say. Even if you don't like her, you hate her family, I don't care, bro. It is imperative that you as a man take care of your child. And that's what child support is there for. Like, even if you didn't want to have this baby, you should still be able to be put on child support. I don't care. Even if it happened to me, say I get my girlfriend pregnant, she want to have the baby, I don't want to have the baby, but she has it anyway. First off, I would help take care of the child because I'm not a 40-year-old man. I'm not a weird 40-year-old man, so I would help take care of the child regardless. But if I have to pay child support, that's just what I'm gonna do. And you can't complain about it. Like, this is what you chose to do. This is what you agreed upon, right? Even if you don't, look, you cannot pay child support, but just know your ass will go straight to jail. So you better pay that damn child support. But this is why you don't have relations with women who you don't necessarily see yourself with in the first place. You know, anytime you have relations with a woman, you need to understand that she could have a baby, right? So you need to know who you're doing stuff with. You need to know, you know, what things might happen if she gets pregnant. You know, what happens after the baby is born. Like, you need to talk, especially if you're doing things consistently with somebody. You need to talk to them about this type of stuff. That's very important.
That's how I feel like it should be. Like, I think it's lame that you could smash a bitch for fun, right? And she says, "I'm pregnant." You're
that's
like,
a funny way to put it anyway.
What are we gonna, like, I'm not ready to be a father.
She gets pregnant. Like,
and she's like, well, I'm ready to be a mother. Child support coming.
Oh my god.
Like, how the f does that make sense? Like, I literally smashed you for sex. Now I gotta suffer because because we just banged for recreational purposes. That shit is ass backwards.
Well, yeah. I mean, you chose to have sex.
That shit is so ass backwards.
You know what could come
That's
from
why
sex.
I said the only way I would give my pops a pass. If I knew him and my mom's was smashing and I just like came out of a oops baby type shit and they weren't married and in a relationship, I give them a pass for sure.
You know, I feel like only a man in that situation can say some shit like that, because even if you were an accident, oops baby, right? You just came out. Your dad should not get a pass just because he chose not to take care of you because he didn't want you. Like, wouldn't that hurt inside? Like, your dad didn't want you and he chose not to take care of you? Like, that's basically what his dad did. He ain't grow up with a dad. I assume that he says that because his dad planned to have him, right? But with that being said, it's like, wouldn't it be worse if you were just a complete accident and your dad didn't take care of you? At least you were planned, you know. At least there were steps in place for, I don't know, man. I don't know. Either way, it's a shitty situation, you know, like, to be in.
The same way,
not a good situation.
I'm having sex for recreational purposes. But, so I get it that you had sex for recreational purposes, and I was a byproduct.
I feel like even as a child, that still wouldn't feel good. Like,
I think that shit's
even
like
for that
ass
dumbass nigga.
Like, I'm not fucking nobody. Like, men, we don't. Men, most of us don't to procreate. So it's like,
I feel like that's kind of true, but at the same time, it's like the act itself could, you know what I mean? Like, the act itself could spawn a child anyway. So even if you're not doing it specifically to have a child, that's what the purpose of it is for. So if it happens, you can't be surprised.
Why is it a one-sided thing?
I wouldn't even say that it's one-sided, considering the woman has to go through 9 months before having a baby and the pain of labor and postpartum and all that other stuff.
Is a deadbeat father. Full stop. There is no subtle nuance to this statement. There is nothing else to understand. I'm not speaking in rhythm, rhyme, limerick, or anything.
Every time I hear this nigga speak, it sound like a fucking poem
father, full stop. Of all of the controversies that have surrounded LowTierGod's online presence for over a decade now, I personally believe that this is quite honestly the worst. Not only because of the nature of what this surrounds, the more because of the real life ramifications of LowTierGod being a deadbeat father. Everything he said to Facade, everything he said to Bro.
And you know, the craziest part about that, him being a dad, is all the things that he said about women over the years. I've only heard a little bit of it. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I'm super versed in like his lore. He's like a mythical figure at this point. I'm not too versed in his lore, but one thing I have seen is clips of him talking about women and if he had a daughter over the years, right? And it's so, knowing that he has a child now, like, other people have said it, but I really feel bad for the kid.
Everything he said to Perfect Legend, everything
I feel
he
so
said
bad for
to
that child.
every member of the FGC or the greater streaming community pales in comparison to the fact that Dale Wilson has a child out in the world that he has willfully abandoned. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at how we got here.
That's insane.
Most of us know that for years now,
No
Dale
way.
has openly talked about his immense disgust at the mere thought of having daughters, and many great videos have compiled his thoughts on the matter, which you should definitely watch if you haven't seen them.
I just want to say, the amount of people that's dedicated to trolling this man and the amount of accounts that are out here just solely dedicated on trolling him is hilarious. I've never
Because
seen
they add a
anything
whole
like
other
it.
layer to
Never
what
in
you're
my
about
life.
to see. But just in
Never.
case you haven't, here is but one quick example.
Here's what's gonna happen. Me and my daughter, we gonna be straight. As soon as I find out she lose the V, I don't got nothing else to say to you.
Wow.
Honestly though, let me ask you niggas a question. Honestly, what more would I
I'm gonna
do?
answer this shit too.
What more would I need to say to my daughter if she starts sucking on and like, what kind of relationship we gonna have? You already went out there and explored men. What else do we need?
This is why I don't like when certain dudes talk about having children, or specifically daughters, because they only think about it in two ways, right? Some niggas only think like when they have a child, there's only two outcomes: lesbian or hoe. That's it. Well, no, three: lesbian, hoe, or housewife. Like, those are the only three things that could possibly happen when having a daughter, that some of these dudes think. Like, me personally, I'm raising my daughter to be a good person. Full stop. A good person. She's gonna learn how to cook, clean, obviously. Same thing with my boys too, though. I'm not finna discriminate on that part at all. I'm just saying, you know, I'm gonna teach my daughter. Obviously, I want my daughter to be straight, right? I want her to be a straight woman. I want her to be strong and confident in herself, but at the same time, get with a good man that's gonna take her to where she need to go. You know what I mean? Or even help the man get to where they need to go collectively. You know what I mean?
Need to speak
Thinking about it like this is so
if she
weird,
like girls
man.
and shit, we could vibe.
Which
But
is
for
so
me to
weird
just
to me, because
continuously have
like,
a
what
continuous
does it matter to
relationship with
you
my
for
daughter
if
when she's
your
already
daughter
sucking on
is
other men's and getting backshotted? Like, we don't have nothing else to
This shit is
talk
so
about.
weird,
The relationship at that point is weird from that point on. Like, you're no longer a little girl to me. You're a woman out there getting banged, backshotted, sucking, and taking nuts, busting on nuts, squirting all over. Like, just
Come
the
on,
thought of
man.
like,
Why do you
I
think
couldn't
about
rock
it
with
like
my
that?
daughter no more. Just
Let me pause for a second. Apparently sex is wrong. It would cause him to not talk to his daughter anymore. But it's okay for, yeah, exactly. That's another reason why I couldn't see it that way. It's like, if I'm out here doing what I do, obviously your daughter should not be going around doing things with any guy that just walks, because that's not right, clearly. But again, this is why you raise your daughter to be a good person, to be careful out here, to know what to look for, things of that nature.
let's just have a daughter and she comes over and she had a kid. Like, I gotta look at a pregnant daughter. I don't see how dads process that shit. I really don't. Cause me, like,
Exactly.
I could be a 60-year-old
Life is beautiful,
right?
man.
And have
Why would
like
you
a
not want your daughter to,
30-year-old daughter, and
you
she
know,
comes
use
over
her womb
pregnant
for what
with
it's
her
intended
kids?
for?
I'ma feel weird because somebody laid you down and you when you were my daughter at a point in time, and I gotta sit over and play grandpa. Like, nah, I'm cool.
And keep in mind,
That's so
there's at
weird
least
to think
20
about
other
it that
clips
way.
just like this one that are just as bad, if not worse. If you have seen
I
the
could
leaked
never think of my
LTG
daughter
credit
like
report, you may have noticed a few key tidbits of information.
That's what I'm talking
The
about.
first
with
thing
credit
was the
shit.
Department of Child Support collection,
Niggas was literally
obviously,
locking and
which is
unlocking his
dated
credit.
August 2023 on the report.
It's
Then if
crazy.
you browse to the part that appears to be all the inquiries, or pulls as they're known in the business, most are the typical things you would see on any credit report. Credit cards, auto dealers, banks,
Yeah.
But there is one unique thing, a name. And the date for this inquiry is coincidentally also in August 2023.
What the fuck? What's that about?
Now, if you Google this name, you will find a law firm located in Southern California,
right. Okay.
about an hour's drive
I remember
from
seeing
where
this a
LT
little bit. I remember seeing this. Somebody else, like, from a different clip or some shit. Somebody looked up the name, and apparently it's to a law firm that has to deal with, like, child
lives. If you go to the
services and
firm's
shit like
website, it states they specialize in two main areas of law, estate planning and judgment enforcement. Estate planning is basically wills, living trusts, things like that. Basically grown-up shit that LTG would never even think to do. Judgment enforcement is when you take someone to court and you win a judgment against them, but the other party doesn't pay. So you hire a law firm to get involved, and they can do things like garnish the other person's bank account or income, put a lien on their assets, or other extreme measures. And basically, the point is that they are forced to pay you, one way or the other.
Damn.
So you might see a loose story starting to come together here. Just based off this information alone, it would appear that in August 2023, his child support obligations went into collections, and also in August 2023, a law firm intervened in the matter to try enforcing a judgment against him. So as I was putting this all together, I had the thought, these things all seem to be happening around August of 2023. So what was Dale doing around that time on stream? What kind of things was he talking about? What was his general mood like? Was there any random things he just started talking about without any seeming explanation for it? Many of us know that Dale has a terrible poker face, and when something is bothering him, it will be written all over his face. Not only that, but he has to talk about it. So I set out to find if there were any topics or things he was venting about on stream around that time, or similarly, if there is anything he has been focused on since. The first clip I found was what you just saw at the beginning of this video.
They done already found
Coincidentally, the date of this clip is August 21st, just 2 days before the credit inquiry from the law firm hits his credit report. Just a short, random rant about how unfair it is that you could get a girl pregnant and then be forced into
It's just funny because he's the same person that's like, stop asking me questions, don't get into my business, I keep all my business private. Yet he'll leave all these different clues that he doesn't know he's leaving because he's...
Alright, Anthony Edwards is going viral for allegedly paying a woman 100 bands to get an abortion. Man, you can't force a kid on the world. I have an appointment on that 27th.
I just want to say though,
nah, I can't do this.
And it's stupid as hell for doing that.
So what
I don't
now?
know if it was real. I can't remember if it was real or not.
Get an abortion.
But shit dumb as hell. I don't know why.
Honestly,
you would
I've had
do
an
that
abortion
as
with my son around 2 years ago, and I regret it every day. Man, you can't force a kid in the world. And you know I'm gonna give my insights after this shit. Being cool to you is just
like, who the fuck is asking this nigga to talk about this shit? Like, the fact that you can relate to something like this is ridiculous. I will never in life relate to something like this at all. Getting a girl pregnant who I don't like or don't want to, you know, it's just...
Get an abortion by myself
why you be
and you're not gonna do
smart
shit about it,
not
just
do
going
shit
on about
like
your
that.
day. That's being cool to you. Obviously, you've been through this before just by your reaction. I'll send you the money to help you out.
Man, I low-key want to speak
I didn't
this
ask
shit
for
up.
it, but
This
okay. Like, who, why would I refuse bands?
For too long, I'm gonna be honest with you.
So you just don't want a baby? Is that why you're saying this? Because I've been cool with you. I don't want
Let me speed
kids.
this shit up. My fault.
Let's handle this like grown-ups. Okay. I'm not trying to force you to be a dad to a baby you don't want. I just don't like abortions. That's like, that doesn't get me wrong. Like, if you really don't want to do this, it's just fine. I won't. In other words, like, damn, I just wanted to have a bag for 18 years, but
And
I
that's
like
so
the fact
weird
that.
to think about a child
And
that
look,
way.
there's another one where she was like hounding him for the money, and he had his
I know
attorney
some
send her
women think
100
like
bands.
that, but to speculate.
Here's
on
my thing
somebody
about this
thinking like
situation.
that is crazy.
I don't like the fact that you're using my bust. So I should have 50% of the say if you bring a kid in the world I clearly don't want. Why would you have a spiteful baby that I'm never gonna...
You had a 50% in the say when you had sex with somebody. That was the 50%. That was the 50%. This is why if you're with somebody, you discuss these things
on that kind of level
before a baby comes along.
Like, this is the thing too. This is why I would let my dad. I would easily let my dad pass if he didn't marry my mom. I would have let him slide. That's where you up, nigga. If you was just, I would have been like, okay, cool. Like, you was just getting pussy and then you you happen to concede, like you happen to slip some in.
There's
and
still nothing
boom,
cool
here.
about that, by the way.
But
doing stuff with a woman and not trying to
I don't like the fact that most of us men, 99.9% of the time, we're looking for pleasure. Stories like this, if you knew I was fucking you for pleasure, why would you forcefully try to have a kid? And a lot of these chicks, they will probably, we've seen so many stories where they forcefully have a kid. I don't want the kid. I don't want nothing to do with you. If I don't like you and it was just some sex session, what makes you think I wanted to procreate with your ass in the first place? It's just crazy how like I see so many of these things where it's just men, we don't have the choice. So you're using my cum, you're using my sperm to fertilize your egg, but I don't have none of the choice on what you do with the kid, and I gotta pay. This man didn't want a kid with this chick so bad he gave her $100,000 with the kid, and I gotta pay. This man didn't want a kid with this chick so bad he gave her $100,000. That should be a wake-up call. That it should be a 50-50.
Shit, I would have took the 100 bands and still have the child. At the end of the day,
this is how shit should work.
Why even deal with that shit morally?
Which we're doing for pleasure in the first place. And if a chick happens to get pregnant, because a lot of these chicks will be like, please busted me, please. It just feels better. And like how warm it is inside of my pussy. The way I think it should work, I think it should work like this.
Take no accountability for that is absolutely insane.
The law should be.
That's the
we're clearly fucking for recreational purposes.
Shit I never heard.
You want to bust, I want to bust.
That's crazy.
I didn't want a kid with you in the first place. Most of us don't fuck for kids.
That's crazy.
So guys, if there's anybody out there that's mad at your dad, he never married your mom, he was fucking for sex. So you really don't have the right to be mad at your dad if he never married your fucking mom in the first place, because
I mean, you don't have to
your
be
mom
mad
probably
for her
had the kid. Your mom probably had you without his motherfucking permission. So
I mean, you don't have to be mad at your dad for not marrying your mom, but at the same time, it's like, that don't mean that he don't get to take care of you. That's not how that works.
Were you mad because you never met your pops? Look, anyways, I almost called this nigga something back. I just had to keep my cool since I'm the lit nigga. You're banned. Anyways, all my guys in here,
lit.
If your dad never married your mom and he was never around, you can't even get mad at the nigga. Because clearly he didn't want to, clearly he was fucking for sex.
Regardless, as a man, you still need to take care of that
in the first place.
Regardless.
He was fucking for sex, backshotting, creamy backshotting your mom and all that type of shit.
Alright, bro. That's
she happened to say,
you ain't
I'm
gotta
gonna keep the kid anyway, you're here. You're a product of sex. Most of us are just a product of accidental bust-ins. If we didn't marry you, we didn't want the motherfucking kid. Most of these dudes be beefing with these, like, what's Von Miller? You guys ever hear about the story with Von Miller?
Yeah, but why are you beefing with the girl anyway?
Back to what I was saying.
What are you beefing with?
What I'm trying to make is this.
I don't get
think that
you should not be doing stuff with women if you beefing with them. Like that's just
because
this is how that works.
It was my sperm that helped you incubate this kid. So if we can't come collectively and make a decision together, if you're like, I don't want the kid, she's like, well, I want it. I think that it should be. I think that the case should be brought in front of a judge, and you guys should both be able to explain your case on why you think it's not really a good idea to bring a kid in the world.
I feel like that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like he's just talking from his situation, because I done seen plenty of times where like somebody get pregnant, they ain't expect to get pregnant, and then they still stay together, and like things are cool. Like obviously, having a child does not ruin your life. It halts your life. It puts your life on pause. It's a very selfish thing to be like, oh, you know, I don't want to have this child because I still want to have fun, even though your girl is pregnant or whatever the case is. Like, when you become a parent, your fun stops. Not saying you can't have fun after the baby is born, but for the time being, bro, your fun is stopped. Like your life is halted for a minute. You know what I mean? On top of the fact that you out doing what? Drinking, partying. That's it. Like that's what you're missing out on. He's clearly speaking from experience.
Juice slipped in. I know I pulled out, but a little bit of my matrix juice slipped in. I had no intentions of fucking with this chick in the long haul. It was just for some head and sex. And you happen to get pregnant, and you tell me you're gonna keep the kid. Yeah, I'm about to say that sounds like exactly what happened. What do you think is gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? You think I'm gonna be overjoyed if you pregnant? I'm gonna be like, okay, let's get the AB. No, I'm gonna keep it. Okay, so she decides to keep it. We arguing this and that. She decides to keep it. Do you honestly think I'm ever gonna fuck with that kid, authentically love it, or be in its life at all? No, I'm gonna just pay my dues and go on about my life.
I'm gonna read this out loud. I'm gonna make it fast. I mean, that's your call, your choice. You decide whether you want to be a man and be in a child's life, or you choose to perpetuate the cycle that you usually criticize when Rogs do it. Exactly. Exactly my point. And my thing is this: he'll talk bad about black people all day, every day. He'll do it, man. He'll do it for hours on end. But
you could slide me on that CP.
You worse
that CS,
than any
just slide me on that CS.
that you see. You worse than them.
Because you had the kid against my will. So why the f would I have unconditional love for something that I didn't want?
That's
I said CP
crazy.
like child support. Get it?
That's
y'all niggas
crazy.
over. Every time I make a mistake, y'all niggas say some dumb shit. Any fucking ways. I put the wrong abbreviation. Excuse me.
Why would you even abbreviate child support?
If I
don't
don't
even make
like
sense.
you and I was fucking and
How
I
could
didn't
you
want to agree to
abbreviate
have a
child
kid
support?
with you,
Just say
why
the
would
whole
you
thing.
forcefully have a kid anyway? Why is it your decision to keep something that I'm half of that I helped create?
Where's the logic in that though? So you helped create it, right? But you didn't want it. But half of it is you. So I don't know. To me, the way I see it is, if it's half, half of me is in that child, I deserve to help raise that child into being what I would want my child to be. At the end of the day, it's your kid's choice.
Clearly, for fun. I was
clearly you're just trying to
sucked up. I didn't want no fucking kid by you.
Clearly, you're just trying to escape.
If the kid ends up being LeBron James, I don't give a. Maybe wear a condom. What if it rips and then I'm stroking? I look down, the shit's popped. Now you got nut in you. Now you're keeping it. They usually don't rip. Shit, if you ain't got
even
BBC,
then, you know when it rips. Even
BBCs, we usually could rip condoms. Why would I get a vasect? I don't want nothing to do with the kid.
That's like, nigga, you 40 years old anyway. By the time your child 18, you're gonna be what, 58?
Position to chick forcefully at the kid, I'll pay what I need to pay, but I want no ties to the child. That's not my kid. It was against my will. I want no parts. So I don't blame
against your will,
Anthony
but you
Anderson
chose to.
Shit. Honestly, what's his name again? Anthony what? Edwards. My bad. I don't blame Anthony Edwards for this shit. I don't think there's nothing wrong with what he said.
I feel like if he didn't have a child, he'd be singing a different
He could have
tune about that.
abbreviated it and said, "Could you just at least get an AB?"
With you.
I'm not a pastor, nigga. You're banned. Pastor this banned, bitch. I would have just said it something slick. I'd have went, "Can you get an AB?" with a LOL. She don't, what's an AB? I'd have been like, I mean, come on, man. You know we was just fucking for recreational purposes.
And then it's like, that's stupid too, because
I'm not in love with you.
Niggas don't know what it is.
We're not in a relationship. We were clearly just.
Niggas don't know what it is anyway. So there's no point of even abbreviating.
That sounds like a logical way to do it.
There's no point.
And just like he said, man, you can't force a kid in this world, which is true. But chicks like to do that. You can't force a kid in this world.
You can't.
Anyways,
but at the end of the day, you help create the motherfucker.
Sensitive about it, but I do think that conceiving a kid should be a 50-50 party. If the two parties cannot come together, why people that fuck? The guy was just having sex.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
she
like,
magically gets pregnant. He clearly didn't act. He clearly didn't bust in.
Women who have money go through the same
a little bit
situation.
of nut slipped in, some pre-cum or something. Boys, you're gonna make the shit harder.
You're both, bro. The story was great. I paid a girl $10K. I think it was 100. Now both people are broke. Yeah, it's just
when the kid goes to school.
He was a fucking idiot.
And with your kid because you gotta work too.
Is that a rule that all kids in these situations grow up in apartments? Again, it sure sounds like he's the one talking about something or something. Not just remember story. Yeah, he talking about some shit he went through 100%. And that's sad, man. That's sad, like, cause the child is gonna get old enough to the point where shit, it's 10 years old, so it's gonna get to a point where it's old enough to look up their dad, and this is the shit that they're gonna see about him, like. And he's continuing the cycle, and he doesn't care.
To survive.
Because he didn't have a hand in creating the baby, I guess.
Purposes. Luckily, he found a chick that has some sense.
And even then, it's like they both got money. They both famous. They both. It's not like the child is gonna suffer.
There's no love involved.
There's no love while we made that kid.
There's no love. I just don't understand. I don't understand the laws with that shit. Like I said, if my dad never married my motherfucking mom, I could give two flying. I have no animosity now, but I would give him a pass.
You do have animosity.
You would get a cold pass for me if he never married my mom. You get a pass for fucking, and I'm just here because clearly that was the situation. But he married my mom, so clearly the nigga wasn't ready for a kid when he had me. But he fucked up when he married her. You know what I mean? Maybe people should stop fucking recreationally. That's one thing too.
Yeah,
that's another thing, guys.
Don't you should just be safe about it.
Just not marrying and ruin it. He didn't plan either way, because I mean, you already locked ties. You was in a locked relationship contract, so that's different. But any guy in here that's mad at your dad,
I mean, not
And you
really
didn't
though,
marry
because
your mom,
again,
technically you ain't
even
got a
when you
reason to be
just
mad at
doing
her
stuff
because
with a woman, like there's still a chance stuff
clearly
can
the nigga
happen.
wasn't
So
trying to have you in the
regardless,
first place, so
y'all
it's just
together.
sex, your
Like,
mom got pregnant, you're
I'm not
here,
gonna say
why you
soul
got
ties,
animosity?
but regardless, y'all together for real.
Did I ever get a girl pregnant? There was one ex-girlfriend I got pregnant like hella years ago. It was, oh my god, I dodged a bullet with this ball rod yet. I was in a relationship with this chick.
Wow, that's crazy. That's so sad.
Bro,
That's so sad.
this chick was so f***ing violent. She was like 6'1", 6'2". Bro, when I tell you, like, everything about that relationship, I felt obligated. And I didn't even have shit at that time. I was like 20.
Damn, 19 years ago?
Nah, bro, this was
Shit.
so long ago, man. This was like hella Christmases ago and shit. This might have been like Christmas 2018 type shit.
2018? What the fuck? I hope that was just two stories he got confused.
But yeah, I
'cause
dodged
that's
the bullet.
insane.
So that,
Being racist for no reason, and look at you now. People know you're a deadbeat
bro, child
dad.
support ain't nothing for these niggas.
That's crazy.
The only thing that would suck if I was a rich man and a bitch was getting child support off me, I would just be pissed the fact that this bitch is just eating off a life that I worked for. Or it doesn't even matter if I was rich. I'd be mad that any bitch that could get child support off of a nigga that just from having a kid, you're just eating off a life I worked for. You don't deserve that shit.
You
Go
do
get
if
a
you're
go
not
get a
taking care of the
career,
kid.
bitch. Nah, not 21, 18. You say you think what went up?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you
why
talking
wouldn't
about?
you, with the girl who already had a
Oh, it
career,
went up
why are
to
you just
21?
doing stuff with random
Ain't no
women?
way.
That's
Why
stupid.
did you need to pay for a kid for 21 years? Fuck you. You was a product of sex anyway, 9 times out of 10.
Right.
That's crazy how like society
I'm saying
really
right to
got
the
kids
text on
as a
screen, not this
transaction.
dumbass nigga.
Like,
by the way.
it's supposed to be a joyful thing. You telling me I gotta pay for something that was a product of casual sex? Why is a child a transaction? Especially, like I said, if a nigga doesn't agree to have a
But
kid,
that's the
you shouldn't-
thing. A child's not supposed to be a transaction. You make the child a transaction when you act like that. You're supposed to take care of your kid. Like, all kids cost a lot of money, an unfathomable amount of money. Don't get me wrong. But to think of a kid as only a transaction clearly just shows that you don't value children like that. And that's fine, but don't say that and then have a child.
and be obligated to
You
pay.
have a child out here in the world.
fucking
Like
goddamn
Right.
government should pay for that shit. That shit is 21 now.
That's also
crazy,
fucking
bro.
stupid. The government
You
should
gotta
not have
pay
to
for a
pay
kid
your
for extra
mistakes.
4 years.
Even though the government does help
over
some
something
women out
9
in that
times out of 10
situation,
you didn't
which I
agree to have.
understand.
That's
But
crazy. You gotta pay
the government should
an
not pay
obligation
for
a
your
bastard
child.
Crazy.
The dad is supposed to help.
Yeah, there's
out.
no way
That's
I
the
could
point.
fuck with a kid I didn't agree to have. There's just no way I could. There's no way I could fuck with it. If I gotta pay for something that was had against my will, I ain't
It's
fucking with
crazy.
it. I'll just pay for it and fuck you. But as far as like a relationship or any of that type of shit, don't ever try to visit me. Oh, you know that you were my dad. Like, why weren't you there? I'd be like, what the fuck you talking about? I paid for you for all these years, so why the hell would I fuck with a kid I gotta pay for?
Even then,
Get
child
the fuck out of my
support.
face. Are you
That's what I'm
serious,
saying.
Dad?
Even then, child
Dad, are you
support
serious?
ain't gonna pay
What the fuck you talking about?
for
I
all
agree to
that
have your
child
motherfucking
needs,
ass, nigga.
man. Child support
Your mom
ain't
got a
gonna do
bag
that.
off you for fucking 18 years. Did you think that the shit was gonna be kumbaya? Like, nigga, get the fuck off my doorstep. I did not agree that you were a product of casual sex, my nigga. And I would have had the tool tucked just in case. Is there an issue? Wait,
That's
hold on, you pulling a
crazy.
gun on me? Absolutely, bruh. Get the fuck off my doorstep. I did not agree to have you. If it's a girl, I'm like, did I stun
Honestly,
you
I
off
don't
the doorstep?
even
You were
think
not
he
one
would
of
do
my
all
authentic
that. I
children.
think
Get
he would
out of
just
here.
pretend like you don't know
Your
what the kid
dad,
is
my
talking
dad has
about.
been paid. Here,
He don't seem like the
Blocked.
type that would do all
the
that.
fuck out of here, bro. Yo, that obligation shit is lame. Like, if I paid already, I don't want to fuck with you. That's just my thing. If I
That's
paid,
a crazy way
bro,
to think
if
of a
chick
child, man.
randomly had a kid by me
I'm sorry.
and
That's
I paid
crazy.
for all these years, there's no way we can have a relationship. Not a 1% chance. Cause I didn't agree to
In
have
his
you.
mind, this makes sense.
So why in the fuck would I need
In
to
his
fuck with
mind,
you?
he's
I
not a
paid.
Rog
My
for
debt is
thinking
paid.
like
My
this either.
society to debt has been paid. I'll have authentic
My
kids with a bitch I
society to
actually gave a fuck about and focus on those. But
My
with a random
society
ass child
to death.
that I didn't agree to have
That's
and
hilarious.
I paid for, most of these chicks that file, the nigga actually will probably be like, yo, if you just don't file the paperwork, I'll actually work with you. I'll help you out. Some of these chicks be so devious from the stories that I've heard from niggas. Some of these chicks be.
We not gonna do that. If you just use your brain for more than 5 seconds, you will understand that you could easily say there's a lot of dudes that say that just want to get out of paying child support. They don't actually care about trying to take care of the kid. They don't actually care. Like, there's a lot of women out here that actually would prefer to do that, but the man themselves didn't want to do it, or told them to be put on child support, or barely pay what the child needs, barely sees the child, stuff like
so
that.
Devious,
We're not
they
gonna sit
file
up here
anyway
and act like,
and want you to be a father at the same time. Like, what you mean?
yeah, we're not
I
gonna
gave
sit
you a
up here and
bag.
act like
That's
that's
my
most
like.
cases
How,
with
so
men
hold
on
on. So
child
you want me to
support,
pick the
'cause it's
nigga
not.
up or pick the chick up from basketball
Even then,
practice?
even if it
and
was,
pay
that's
you?
how it should work. Like, if you not
You
living
should've
with
thought
the
about
child
that.
and the
I
child
gave
ain't
you
living
a-
with
I
you
gave
or
you-
whatever,
you
you
chose
should be paying
option
child
B.
support
I
and taking
told
care
you
of the
option
baby.
A. Your
For as
mom
much
did
as
that
you
shit
can.
to your pops? That's what I'm talking about, bruh. Yo, you're Jacob. Shut up for the 6 months.
Dance cloak time.
Nigga, if I'm paying, I don't want nothing to do with you. I'll pay my debt, but I ain't f***ing with you at all. That's not a Rog mentality.
Yes, it.
So
Come
you're
on,
telling me
dog.
that you
Yes,
would
it
pay
is.
for a kid out of obligation and
Yes, it
put
is.
it against your will? Tell me in what realm does that sound ethical? Splurge 909, shout out for the 12 months.
It's not ethical
realm does that
necessarily,
sound
but it's
logical
also
and fair
not
to you as a
ethical to
man?
get
It's
somebody
not about
pregnant
it
and not
being
want
the
to take
kid's
care of the
fault.
kid.
So you're telling me if a chick had a kid against your will when you weren't ready and slid you on child support, you're gonna pay out of obligation and rock with the kid out of obligation when you never even liked the bitch for real? That's
first
crazy.
off,
I
why
wouldn't do
would you
that.
be having sex with her?
I'm
if you
straight,
don't
bro.
like her?
I'll pay.
But number two is, again, that's stupid ass logic. You are a grown man at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I ain't.
You a grown man.
If I
yes,
didn't agree
you
to
pay
have
for
the kid,
child
there's no
and
love
help take care
connection.
of the
There's no
child.
bond. So I can't f with you. Relationship. Let's do the ethical thing. You said no.
Wow.
I said, all right, cool, whatever.
I'm just trying to skip
It's your
some
body.
of the meaningless talking
You know what?
from this dude.
And I'm putting you on child support. Wait, what do you mean? Like, well, there's ways we could work this out. Nope. Child support, and you're gonna have to visit.
Yeah, you're a man. You a grown man. That's why you don't deal with women like that. What you want people to say?
What have been LowTierGod? Everything happens for
It's
a
a
reason.
shame that you're LowTierGod.
I'd have
To be
been
honest
some
with you.
depressed
You
father.
should have been somebody else.
with a chick that I
This ain't-
hated.
Clearly ain't working out for you.
I would have hated life. Just thinking about it disgusts me. It just sucks that as a man in society, you don't have a say-so when you're literally just f***ing somebody for casual sex. That's the only thing that sucks. Like,
You don't do it wrong.
we don't
What do
really
you
have
want-
a
what do you
say-so
want
for
people to
shit.
say?
There should be a
You don't do
rule
it
that
wrong.
says if two people cannot agree,
we
she's a
just
piece of
gonna skip
paper,
this,
she's, and
because
then you're as a casual.
just gonna skip
upset
this,
without
because
to
he
want
just
to
keeps
have-
talking about the
what type
same
of free
shit
will
over
do
and
men have?
Hey,
Homies,
I will say some women do that, but we're not gonna sit up here and act like
kids
that's
in their lives are miserable
because it's not.
because chicks use kids as weapons.
I'm talking about them as if
How much net does it take? Probably a microscopic amount.
That's crazy.
So as you have seen, it is extremely heinous. His train
That's
of thought
disgusting,
in
bro.
relation to having a child. At
Absolutely
this
fucking
point,
disgusting.
you really have to be more introspective about this. These aren't speculative rants. If you are a fan of Dale and you watch him go on these rants on stream,
If you're a
these
fan of him,
racist rants, homophobic, transphobic,
like, people have
these
fans, right?
hateful
But
rants over and
That's
over
insane.
and over again, and you think to yourself, it's all a character. He's doing this for a laugh. He doesn't mean any of this. You have to think, because everything he said about not wanting a child, and more specific, a daughter, is all part of the life that he has been living. Dale wears his heart on his sleeve.
he's so bad
There
at hiding it
is
too,
no
man.
if, ands,
He's
or
so
buts
terrible
about
at
it.
hiding it. It's not
Anytime
even funny.
he is upset about something, he will speak about it at length. If he doesn't get invited to an FGC event, he speaks about it because it
Not only
bothers
that,
him.
Not only that, he does it so randomly. Like, there'll be a situation that ain't got nothing to do with anything, and then he'll speak on it. Like, how
He isn't
Why?
nominated.
Why would
for
you?
an
You're just
award he
making
feels
yourself.
like he
You're just
should.
incriminating
He
yourself.
speaks about it because it bothers him. If a troll made a video about a topic that specifically drew more ire, he speaks about it because it bothers him. There is no nuance with Dale. When he is speaking about something, it is bothering him.
Alright, let me read this real fast. Ironically, Dale himself seems to understand this logic, even though he can't help but fall victim to it. I recently saw this tweet where he mentioned it to someone, only to have them play the Uno reverse card and point out that he did the same thing just a few days ago. As you probably guessed, Dale deleted the tweet. Yeah, of course he did. A known food reviewer upset because an actual celebrity didn't know who he was. Cry me a river. You didn't watch the video. His second sentence is, I am not upset. He wouldn't have made the video if he wasn't. Now would he fuck up? Dumb fuck. He made the video to address spat niggas like you who said he is upset. But I see the comparison isn't one of your strong points, Mr. LowTierGod. Also, didn't you sit on screen? Also, didn't you sit on stream and bitch because RDC didn't invite you to a tournament? Yes, that's exactly what happened. And he talked about it for like 20 minutes.
A person who is truly unbothered does not do that. They simply ignore it. Isn't lying. Dale isn't playing a character. He's honest about his hatred.
And it's a shame
not
too.
For a hypothetical.
I wish he was playing a character. I'm not even gonna lie. I wish.
Child, and we all might
I'd much rather him do that than be have all this shit be real.
This child is 10 years of age. This child has the cognitive intelligence to be able to understand the nature of her father's rants about her existence. You saw him.
She's gonna get older and
this
just
child
realize
reached out to him in the future.
He
would potentially harm them for seeking a relationship with them. He would bring a weapon to the door to talk to this child. He is not a man. He is an insect. An insignificant peon who is repeating the sins of his father. Of course, now he wants to justify the fact that his father, James, abandoned him and his sister and his brother and his mother when they were small because he went ahead and did the exact same thing. In the past, he would rant and say that his father did not take advantage of the opportunity. He was born with all of these superior genetics and could have been something more than he is now. But he
and that's the thing. That's the thing that really, really hurts him inside. Is the simple fact that he's 6'5", mainly just 6'5", honestly. 6'5" with a great upper body, and then amounted to nothing in life, to be honest with you. Like, you can't tell me you that tall and you had dreams of being an actor, and you talked about you should have been raised up to be an athlete and all these other things, and not be deeply hurt by that. You know what I mean? Like, if I was that tall and my dad really didn't try to do anything to put me in sports or anything, like, I'm not saying that's what you should do just because your son is tall, because at the end of the day, there's plenty of tall niggas that just work at Target. Have a child who has like pretty good genetics, honestly, and not really do anything with your child is just, that would probably hurt me a little bit too. Luckily for me, I'm short. So.
He hates. He
I know my reality.
The struggle that
but
his
it is
mother
what it
went
is.
through, raising 3 children as a single mother in the 80s and 90s.
That's crazy,
and
man.
even with
he's really that old too, in the 80s
he
and
doesn't
90s.
care. He chose to abandon his child and let this little girl and her mother go through the exact same turmoil that he did. Just to look at a few of the statistics surrounding single mother households and how much they can negatively impact a child. 60% of children below the poverty line live in homes with a single mother. If you have a single mother, you are far more likely to get addicted to drugs. If you were raised by a single mother,
and I will say that's not just because it's their mom. Because if it was their dad, it would the stats would be lower if it was a dad than a mom, obviously. But you know, mothers aren't like genetically, like not genetically, but physically superior. You know?
Shortly after this child's birth.
Most of the time, your mom can only whoop you when you're young. Your dad, on the other hand, can whoop you as you get older. Not saying that that's like the ultimate, you know, how to discipline your child, because there's other things you should do, but still, you know, dads typically command more respect.
Which led to a money match. While most people will be concerned with how they're going to alter their life to provide for the new life that they brought into this world, Dale was more concerned with how he was going to groom a minor and start random Street Fighter beefs. All in all, Dale is submitting himself to the Streisand effect now in an attempt to obscure this information by locking the replies to his Twitter and putting certain words on his block list so that people cannot comment them in his Twitch chat. He is inadvertently confirming that all of this information that leaked is accurate. An innocent person would not do this. They would laugh it off and ignore it.
I mean,
he is scared.
He ain't wrong though.
Is nervous.
He ain't wrong. I feel like a regular person, like me personally, if something like that came out and people were like, yo, you have a daughter. Not even saying that's something you can debunk, because it's really hard to debunk not having kids. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's hard to debunk, but at the end of the day, I would just take it and laugh. I'd be like, bro, I do not have any fucking children. Look up my name, blah, 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 whatever. With him, it's like he literally just told people, believe what you want to believe. Like, that's dead ass what he said, coming from his
terrified because this has been his best
man.
Secret.
This video cuts deep. Jesus Christ.
That we know for a fact about Dale, this was the most unexpected.
Wow, this is the last clip too.
You guys know what I think about chicks that like to trap niggas and use niggas for a bag? I think that it's a very one-sided situation, and I think that it's very unethical that if a woman gets pregnant,
and then it's like, bro, you don't have a bag. Like, I'm not gonna get too deep into somebody else's finances, but in my personal opinion, if you've been on the internet for as long as he's been, streaming for like 10 years for as long as he's been, and your career seemingly hasn't went anywhere, let's just be real. If he was up, he'd be flexing. If he was up, he would be, for sure. He's that type of person. But it's just the fact that he's in the same place, same mind state, same everything. Like, he doesn't have a bag.
You're obligated out of casual sex,
which is cool,
to provide for something you clearly will have no emotional connection with. When a kid is born out of sex, out of recreational sex, it will never be a fully loving relationship with you and that child. That's probably but
then already said most of this shit, so I'm
just because a nigga
he ain't gonna add nothing. I will read that.
You like that?
According to LTG, real niggas don't help raise or love their kids if they don't agree. He'll say things like that too. He'll be like, oh, if you're real, you basically, it's like, if you're real, you agree with me. Not if it's actually real. But if you're real, you will agree with me.
I might pay for you and shit like that, but I'll never fuck with you. I will never consider you one of my authentic children like that. And if I do, based off genetics, I might just use you as a workhorse. And I mean use you as a workhorse, meaning like, okay, I'm gonna be hella militant with you, but it won't be no real love there because you're a product of recreational sex. So I'd be like, all right, look, here's the best that's gonna happen.
How can you speak
your
on
mom
a
happens to be 5'7",
you're in right
I'm
now?
6'5". Let's do something with it. What
you
do
know
you
what
mean?
I mean? Like, how are
you mean? What do I mean? Let's do something
Why
with it.
ain't you
want to
doing
be a
that
basic
now,
nigga
man?
in society,
like 10 years
or
old,
you want to really try to get this back? That's honestly how I would talk to a kid that wasn't bred out of love. I'm gonna speak to you like a science project, because really that's all you actually are. I didn't want to fuck like I did it for fun.
Go to jail.
You're a product of it. Listen, nigga, there'll never be that love type of bond, but I'm gonna give you that tough, gritty shit, and you're gonna be successful, guaranteed. Will you get hugs and tears and all that shit? No, but you could get daps, boom, good job, let's go to practice, boom, militant. It's basically, you're gonna just basically have a hands-on militant father. I would never, ever show a kid real love that I didn't agree to have through a bitch I actually gave a fuck about. That's honestly, that's how the fuck I would feel.
There is nothing cool about what he's saying.
If this X amount,
viewing your kid like this is just fucking disgusting. Yeah.
Boom. All right, bet. Boom. It won't ever be. But my job is to make sure you grow up. All right, cool. You have a female problem.
You're so occupied with looking and sounding cool. He's never cool. Yeah, I mean, just everything he sounds, it sounds good to somebody who thinks as ridiculous as he does. That's the only way something like that sounds okay.
Like, you're not getting any of that.
Anybody with a logical brain.
My job is to make sure you grow up with.
Women go through a lot in the 9 months where they have kids. Somebody doing that out of spite would just be an insane individual. It's really that simple.
How hard is that to understand? If I didn't agree to have that child and I don't love you, I don't like you like that, it was casual sex, what would make you think that I could love something that comes out of you when I didn't love you to begin with? No, absolutely not. I feel very bad for Fresh. I feel very bad for Fresh. He f***ed a chick for fun from Miami. A chick with fake ass titties, most likely a fake ass, black sperm. He trying to fix the problem.
But anyway, speaking of which, what Walter did, the guy from Fresh and Fit, he was with the girl. Number one, they were actually dating, so he obviously has no idea what he's talking about. But again, it's your job as a man to accept accountability and responsibility, which is ironically what Fresh talks to women about. But that's besides.
I know some people like say, "Oh, teacher, what you mean fix the problem? That's life we talk about." All right, listen. He's trying to fix the problem. When I say fix the problem, it's the fact that there's no love involved 100% deep down inside because it was forced up on him. So how can a nigga love how can a nigga
he's obviously just
raw
talking about
sex
himself
with a random Asian chick? Boom,
sure
she
Fresh
got
would
pregnant magically. I'm pretty sure Fresh probably didn't bust the full ejaculation and it probably stole the last stroke. You know how some niggas steal the last stroke and look.
Even then, that's still really weird to talk about somebody, another grown man doing things inside of a woman. Like, why is that? Why are you even speculating on that? Why would you? I'm gonna let y'all read that.
Just fair? No,
long
because I'm doing my own analogy of this shit. I don't agree with this situation. I will never be on a woman's side who forcefully has a child by a man that clearly does not want it, because what you're doing is you're making it hard on more than any.
We'll know that they were a misclick eventually. Condoms are one thing, but you gotta know she's on BC and trust her.
Exactly, but you can't really trust when you're rich and famous, right? When you're rich or popularly known, bro, chicks.
Even if you're popularly known, women don't want to just. Women want to have sex with you when you're popularly known. Some women anyway. But no woman is going to be like, yeah, let me have sex and have a kid by this guy because he's popularly known. When you have no money, does it really matter?
Ultimately going to be looking like, let's be real here. Most women in life are looking for the easy way out.
I'm just
They're like, a lot of women only got a few options in life when it comes to professions. A rich nigga, get pregnant, get a law and scrubs all the time.
That's how he
because they're like, damn, like I don't really be real. That's why you see a bunch of chicks.
Yeah, there's a lot of women that even I know. My own girlfriend, she in school right now. You know, she in nail tech and things like that, and she not just gone. And even then, if you're a beautiful woman, why would you not want to try to find a rich dude? I'm not saying just to live off of him necessarily, but why wouldn't you find a rich guy to get with and, you know, make sure that your children have a really good chance of being successful for? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how you could say that. Like it's a bad thing or something like that. To me, it's only a bad thing when the woman in question, like that's her only life goal. You know what I mean? It's just to find a rich dude and get pregnant. Like that's not what a woman's only goal should be. But no, I don't agree with that being a bad thing necessarily. And it's like the
scrubs all the time because they're like, damn, like I don't really know what else I could do besides like be a nurse or work in the medical field. And chicks. You know that.
I don't know if y'all want to actually watch this part. You can if you want to.
Right.
I'm not. I'm gonna watch some little pop-ups though.
Moving capital F from a different dimension, like some hybrid shit that come off from a different dimension. My homie was
full unclaimed her. They were together and she met his parents.
Oh, she met his parents? Well, he probably moving capital Essie. But I had a homie that was crispity crunchity blue black. This nigga had kids with a Becky.
What did this
bro,
nigga
them
just
kids
say?
look like
as a man, if you're dealing with somebody, not even as a man, but as somebody in a relationship, when you're dealing with somebody, there's always red flags. Always. Whether you choose to ignore them is your business. And even then, if you're friends with somebody, they gonna give you their side of the story regardless. They not gonna give you.
If you're a chick that had a kid out of wedlock with a guy off casual sex,
so even then, it's like,
why not instead of this being a dirty situation, Why not let's work together, do this thing as an adult. Let's not involve courts. Let's not be dirty about the situation.
Not involve courts. You know when somebody is trying to get one over on someone, when they say shit like, let's just do it, let's just have an agreement, let's not involve the legal system, things of that nature.
The child,
you already know, man.
To the point where now I'm gonna hate the kid. Because put it like this, if I'm fresh, right, as soon as you get the courts involved, I don't give a fuck about the child at all. As soon as you fucking involve the courts, I don't give two fucks about the child. It's nothing but an expense to me after that. Now, if we could find out a way to not even contractually, but if we could come out with a verbal contractual way to deal with things where we don't involve the law, cool. But if you literally involve the courts at all with the kid, I don't give two fucks about that child. It is nothing but a bill and an expense to me. That's it. You keep the thing. Because if I'm paying for something, why the f do I need to be around in the first place? If you put shit in docket to do with the f***ing seed.
So just because it went to court, that's why you refused to be in the child's life. You would have helped raise it and pay for it only if she hadn't gone to court. Nah, he would have swept that shit on the door. My thing is, he's mad for two reasons. One, he's mad that he had the child. Or that she had the child and he didn't want it. That's number one. Number two, he's mad that he has to do it legally. That's the thing. It's not the fact that he's giving her money. It's the fact that he has to do it legally. Because I guarantee you, if he did not have to do it legally, he would not be trying to take care of this child at all. And that's why child support and stuff like this exists in the first place. Because you niggas will say shit like, yeah, I'll help take care of the kid. Move to fucking Canada. That's it. Versus you get the law involved, at least if you fucking jerk off to Canada, she can still get some money. She can still get some relief.
Alright, at least
not she, the child.
We ain't out of the course with this shit. Soon as you involve the course, that shit ain't nothing but an extra. That kid turns into a car note. That kid is a BMW, bro. As soon as you involve,
the way he views this just sickens me. It's like if you're paying child support, then you have to withhold love from the kid to get back at them. And it's not even that. Clearly, he didn't want the kid in the first place. He just hates child support because now he has to do it legally. But I'm telling you, man.
The
if
courts,
he could get out of this legally,
nigga, that's a whip.
He probably has contract.
That's not even a child to me anymore, nigga.
Complaining about money when he said
that's a car that I drive, nigga.
Issue here is that she took him.
That's what that shit more into. Let's check out some of these text messages. Would I punish the kid for what my baby mama does? If I had a baby's mother to put me in the courts, the kid's no longer mine. It belongs to the state because the state's involved. So now that just becomes a bill towards me. I want no quarrels with that child. When you become grown, don't come speak to me, because if you become grown and speak to me, I will literally say you were nothing but a product of sex. I tried to talk to your mom about the court shit. She put me into the courts. When the courts were involved, when the government was involved, I'd said, you know what? I want no parts of that child. I paid a bill for you. Your child support has been paid. Have a good luck in life. Your mom chose option A. Option B instead of option A. Option A was I be involved. I still give her a bag, and I teach you family values.
That's not even what it is. I don't think he cares about the fact that it came out publicly. I mean, he does, obviously, clearly. I think for him, it's just the fact that he has to do it, otherwise he goes to jail. Because I'm telling you, he's somebody who wants to play as rich and all this other stuff, but he's clearly not that. Clearly not that. I would say he probably has a lot of money saved up for sure. At least I hope so, right? But we're not gonna sit up here and act like this man is just swimming in fucking money and shit, because obviously that's not the fucking case. So with that being said, he's clearly struggling financially to a certain extent, right? So having to pay that extra, and now it shows up on his credit report, and it's money that he has to give out, I think that's what he's mad at.
Teach you good things on a militant standpoint. She chose option B, said I'm gonna get the courts involved, so I said
even with the son, like this,
that's why you never seen me. So don't come over here crying, talking about I never knew my pa. Like first off, let me get something straight. Biologically, I'm your dad, not your father. See, a father is present through love based off of a love kid, a love child. I am not your fucking father. Biologically, I did help create you.
A father is a man who steps up and does his fatherly duties. A father is a man who steps up and takes care of a child he helped. Whether it was he wanted the mother to terminate the child early, whether it's he was wearing something and it broke. It don't matter. A dad, a father steps up and takes care of his kids.
But outside of that, I want no parts.
Don't try to change the
I paid for you though. You were a bill for 18 years, so I had to pay a car note for 18 years. Outside of that, have a good motherfucking life. Whatever the fuck your mom taught you, good luck. Because what your mom did was she robbed you of learning good shit because she was nothing but a backshot queen. She robbed you of learning good shit and said, I'm gonna get the courts involved. So why don't you go talk to the government about how you learn values and talk to your dumbass mom that was a backshot queen. I wanted no parts of her.
Life like a bitch.
She chose option B. I said, let's get option A. She chose option B.
It's ridiculous.
You were nothing but a bill. Boom. Cars paid. Have a good life. What do you mean cars paid? You were nothing but a vehicle. Kid could take a lesson, get it from the mom. Once you get the courts involved, learn all that shit from your fucking mom. That's my take on it. If you want to get the court, my thing is this, guys. So let's just say you're fucking a bitch for fun.
Hear this nigga.
You don't really like.
Hold up. Did you catch that? Let's rewind this for a second. First, watch the way he puts his hand to his own chest here. And when he says, what about, it sounds like he was about to say, what about me? But he catches himself and says, what fair is that to the man? What fair is that to the man? Then immediately after he says,
so you want to get the courts involved where they robbing me for money? I watched this shit happen to a couple of my homies.
But again, he catches himself and realizes he just went too far and referred to himself in the first person. So he pulls out the old asking for a friend excuse and says, I've watched this shit happen to a couple of my homies. Sure, Dale, your homies. I've chosen to conclude on this clip not just because it really hammers the point home that this isn't some story he's made up, but because of a more important reason, one that speaks to the true character of Dale Wilson. In this last clip you just saw, he's making it clear that he didn't have any issue with her having the kid against his wishes. In fact, he literally says, it's her body, and she can do whatever she wants to. In addition to that, he states multiple times that she could have still made a bag off me, meaning he wasn't against helping support the child financially. He says he was willing to both pay for it and help raise it, so long as they have a verbal agreement that doesn't involve the court system.
I'm not gonna say that's
his only issue with this situation is that she involved the courts. This is so critically important because once I posted the preview for this video, Dale's cuck defenders and wannabe red pill followers were quick to defend him on the basis of men's rights, saying it's not fair that a woman can just decide to have the kid and then force you to pay child support. Whether you agree that's unfair or not is irrelevant, because that's not actually what he's complaining about.
Exactly. Not only that, it don't matter. She gets pregnant, she want to have the baby. You take care of the baby. It's not fucking rocket science, nigga.
Times he resorts to just complaining about the money. And this may just be a case of him lying and saying it's about something else because it looks better than saying it's just about money.
Right.
But let's take him at his word, because he has said multiple times he didn't have any issue with supporting the child financially. Not only that, but you just heard him say she wanted his help raising the child. So all you MRAs thinking she was trying to keep the child away from him, you can just toss that out the window right now. According to him, the reason why he didn't want anything to do with the kid is because she took him to court. At this point, you may be wondering, why would she need to do that if he was willing to pay? Well, like I said, this could all just be a lie, but the answer may lie in the information contained in the credit report, in addition to what we know about the child. The child in question is 10 years old, so they weren't just born recently, but the child support collection on his credit report and the inquiry from the law firm that specializes in judgment enforcement are more recent, from August 2023. So maybe they did have a verbal agreement like the one he keeps referring to, and he had been paying her directly. So what happened? Obviously we can't know exactly what took place, but come on. Let's not just feign ignorance like some people. Let's use our brains and call a fucking spade a spade. If he was really willing to support the child like he says, why would she need to take him to court in 2023, 9 years after the kid was born? The thing is, though, his story doesn't make sense. He says that it was her involving the court that made him not want to have anything to do with the child, even though the court just mandates he do the thing he said he was willing to do in the first place. So I don't get all his resentment if he was really willing to do it. It's not like the end result is any different. The net effect is the same. But I digress. Remember, the child is 10 years old now, and according to all the leaked paperwork, she didn't get the courts involved until 2023. Wow. So if the issue was really her taking him to court, where was his involvement with the child from 2014 to 2023? That's 9 years where there was no court order, but there's no indication that he was involved in her life at all during that period. It is possible he was, and we just don't know it. But it doesn't seem like that's the case from the leaked documents, which literally itemize how much time each parent spends with the child. 0%. I also find it pretty hard to believe that if he had been helping raise them over all those years, spending time and building a relationship with them for almost a decade, that he would just cease all contact solely because she got a court order that ensures he pays child support. That's not what it is. He's mad he got to. I may be harping on this, but he says he was willing to pay, right? So why does it matter so much that she took him to court? All that does is allow her to seize his money if he doesn't pay. So if he was paying willingly, it makes no difference. Like I said, I suspect he's either lying or he's leaving out the part of the story where he stopped paying, which was the catalyst for her to take him to court in the first place. These law firms that deal in judgment enforcements can't do anything without a judgment to enforce. They can't just walk into a bank and garnish someone's income because they're lawyers. You have to go to court first. This means it's very likely she never wanted to go to court. It was just a necessary step she had to take to make him pay, which is supported by the fact that she didn't do it in 2014 when the child was born. It didn't happen until 2023. So that's the story. I can't imagine that anyone would still believe this guy in the face of mountains of evidence. It honestly sickens me that he can't ever just face the truth. Dale is truly one of the most deceptive, dishonest humans I've ever seen. No hyperbole. And it's not like that's his only personality flaw. This man has said thousands of things that show what a sick, demented, twisted mind he has. But I don't think anything demonstrates that more than these cruel, heartless comments about an illegitimate child that we now know weren't hypothetical. Yeah, this is just even sad, prior to the credit report leak, I would hear these comments and think, what kind of sick fuck would ever think such a thing? Let alone say it out loud in public, and it gets even worse because wasn't just saying it, he's actually bragging. He meant that shit. Like you can tell if you watch these clips, he thinks he looks so cool and so aloof that he could treat his own offspring like that. The man is literally getting high off his own farts when he acts out that stupid fantasy of his child showing up at his door and him responding with a gun, even though we all know he's a coward that would never do such a thing. Yeah, exactly. If this ever happened, he would probably do what he always does and deny he is Dale Wilson, like he did when the process server showed up to serve him the papers. Absolute coward shit. Now, it's one thing to actually think these deplorable things. It's another thing to actually say them out loud. But when you actually know there's a living, breathing child out there, and that the child is old enough to go online and hear these things for themselves, I have to wonder what kind of person would do such a thing. I honestly think he is so cruel and insensitive, so spiteful and immature, and he holds so much resentment for the child's mother that he's actually hoping they hear it as a way to enact some sick revenge on her for committing the sin of taking him to court. As we have seen over the past few days, when Dale is complaining about something or criticizing someone, he's usually projecting his own insecurities outward, and you may remember how many times he mentioned weaponizing the child. Well, dare I say that is exactly what he's trying to do here. Every time the things we criticize others for are usually the things we hate about ourselves. And I think this is very much the case with LTG.
There is a brilliant quote often attributed to Maya Angelou, and I'm going to play that quote for you here.
The other most important lesson, well, it's hard for me to number them, but let's say one of the most important lessons I ever learned from you, and I still am, I think I know the lesson, and then I'll walk into a situation and think that's that same lesson, and that is when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yes, absolutely. A person says to you, I'm selfish, or I'm mean, or I am unkind,
or I'm crazy,
or I'm believe them. They know themselves much better than you do.
When people show you who they are, believe them. Dale oftentimes engages in doublespeak. He will try to mitigate his culpability in relation to a lot of things by saying half-truths. He will lie by omission. So what did he say after all this information leaked? What was his response?
That nigga said, believe what you want to believe, bro.
Was his response.
I'm nobody's father. I promise you that.
Why do you sound like that? Why do you make it? I don't know. That shit just sounded weird. That shit didn't even sound like he believed himself.
Use the word father. And why is that relevant? That's relevant because of this clip from earlier in the video.
She chose option B, said, I'm gonna get the courts involved, so I said, fuck you. That's why you never seen me. So don't come over here crying, talking about, I never knew my father. First off, let me get something straight. Biologically, I'm your dad. Outside of that, I am not your father.
Because he is such a steaming, insect-filled, pock-ridden piece of shit. He doesn't see himself as a father because he doesn't love, care for, or want anything to do with the child he had a role in bringing into this world. And I agree with him. He isn't a father. The child has a
hopefully
loving
he'll never be a
mother
father, to be honest with you.
Thankfully,
I do not want that nigga to have actual fucking children.
and it almost feels like the child is even more blessed for having not known Dale and not knowing anything about the other half that brought her into this world.
Yeah, man, that video is deep as fuck. So number one, this thumbnail right here is fucking crazy. That's number one. Number two, my thoughts on this whole situation is, honestly, I have no words. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I thought I would have something planned to say at the end of this video, but I really don't have anything, I guess, of note to add that hasn't already been stated. I mean, like, if you're the type of person that can bring life into this world and completely deny it for over 10 years and only speak on it when something doesn't go your way is crazy. Like, I just wanted to redo the last part of this video and be a little bit more serious. Overall, when it comes to all the information we learned in this video, I just want to say this. If you're a man who has a baby with somebody, you need to own up to it. If you're wrong, you need to own up to it. Sometimes as a man, you need to take accountability for your actions. Don't end up like him at all. It's really sad that somebody can be this old, that can have a child, have young people that look up to him, and this is what he chooses to do. On top of the fact that he never takes accountability for his actions, the least he could do as a man is step up for his daughter, and he can't even do that. At the beginning of the video, I was like, if you're a fan of this dude, I understand, but I can't. After seeing everything and everything he's done in the past, I don't know how you can be a fan of this man. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't see how you could be a fan of somebody like this in good conscience. And that just goes to show you that anybody with a core audience can sustain to a certain extent. You know what I'm trying to say? When you have a core audience, these people will follow you to the ends of the earth. Don't be that person. You can be a fan of somebody, I understand, but don't be so much of a fan of somebody to the point where you just completely disregard everything that they've done. At the end of the day, if this person is not a good person and you follow them, cool. At least you know that, right? But if you're following this man thinking that he's a good person and the trolls are wrong, people just don't understand, you're lost.